This message didn't find you by accident. It found you because something within you has been shifting, aching in ways you haven't fully voiced. There are moments in life that arrive without fanfare, yet carry the weight of destiny-quiet intersections where eternity whispers. Pay attention. This is one of those moments. You've felt it, haven't you? That internal tug-of-war between faith and frustration. Some days the battle rages so loudly you can barely think. Other days it's just a dull ache you carry but can't name. Part of you still believes in miracles, still whispers prayers into the darkness with trembling hope. But another part, the part that's been disappointed before, the part grown weary of unanswered questions, is considering whether to close its heart just a little more, to build walls a little higher. You're exhausted from the internal conflict, exhausted from maintaining faith when emotions scream otherwise, exhausted from pretending you're okay when you're barely holding it together. This tension isn't confusion. It's the unmistakable pressure of decision forming in your soul. Something is coalescing beneath the surface. How you respond in this seemingly ordinary moment will determine which door opens next. God's pattern is ancient. Confirmation comes before transition, though it rarely feels merciful when you're in the middle of it, when your heart is raw and patience threadbare. Before he opens doors that will change everything, he studies the hands that will walk through them. Before answers arrive, trust must be tested in places no one else can see in 3 a.m. moments, when doubt whispers loudest in disappointing days that stack up like bricks in silent hours, when you wonder if anyone, even God, truly hears you. You may look at your life and see stagnation, empty calendars that mock your potential, unchanged circumstances that make you question if you heard God correctly, prayers that seem to bounce off the ceiling. The disappointment can feel suffocating. The loneliness cuts deep. The fear that maybe this time things won't work out keeps you awake at night. But beneath the visible, everything is moving. Your spiritual capacity has been expanding, painfully, yes, but expanding. Your discernment has been sharpening, though the friction burns. You're no longer satisfied with performance-based spirituality or borrowed faith. You want something authentic, something that can withstand storms, something anchored in truth. That holy dissatisfaction is evidence that transformation is already underway. And yes, it hurts. Growth always does. Right now, God is asking you to break patterns that have governed your life for years. Old reactions that made sense in survival mode. The anger that protected you. The walls that kept you safe. The need to control everything because you couldn't trust anyone, not even God, to hold your heart with care. Old fears that protected you once but now imprison you. Fear of abandonment. Fear of failure, fear of hoping again, only to be crushed again. Old ways of doubting yourself that feel like humility but are actually agreement with lies. You read not enough. You're damaged. You've missed your chance. This isn't happening because you're failing. It's happening because you're growing. What was necessary in a previous chapter may block you from the next one. You're being invited to die to smaller versions of yourself, not because they were bad, but because they're too small for what's coming. The caterpillar must dissolve almost entirely before the butterfly emerges. This discomfort you feel, this sense of everything familiar falling away, it's not rejection, it's reconstruction. You may not feel ready, and that feeling is honest. You look at yourself flawed, uncertain, still wrestling with doubts, and think, How could God use me like this? The inadequacy feels overwhelming, but readiness is not confidence. Readiness is willingness. Willingness to trust even when outcomes remain unclear, and emotions insist this will end in disaster. Willingness to release even when your hands want to grip tighter. Willingness to obey quietly, without applause, without immediate evidence that it mattered. That's the faith that moves mountains, not faith that feels certain, but faith that chooses trust while trembling. God is watching not with judgment, but with the intense care of a father who sees potential you can't yet see, who believes in you even when you don't believe in yourself. He's paying attention to how you treat yourself in the waiting, how you speak to him when exhausted, how you respond when reality doesn't match your prayers. Every moment of choosing trust over bitterness matters. Every time you whisper, "I trust you," through tears matters. Every decision to stay soft instead of hardening matters more than you know. You're closer to breakthrough than you think. But proximity doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels like pressure intensifying until you think you'll crack. Sometimes it's heavy, like atmosphere before thunder. Sometimes it's uncertainty, old foundations crumbling before new ones are visible, suspended in the terrifying in-between where nothing is solid. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It means something significant is near. Right before labor brings new life, pain intensifies. Right before the butterfly emerges, the cocoon must break. Right before the promise manifests, everything contradicting, it screams louder. Your next season requires a different posture, less striving, more abiding, less overthinking, more listening, less self-blame, more self-compassion, more trust when evidence is scarce, more patience when timelines extend, more surrender when control seems safer. Consider what you've survived, challenges that should have hardened your heart, yet you remained soft. Betrayals that should have made you cynical, yet you kept believing in goodness. Disappointments that should have driven you away, yet you're still here, still seeking, still hoping. That matters more than you know. That resilience, that stubborn refusal to become what hurt you, that determination to keep your heart open even when closing it would hurt less, that supernatural strength. That's courage. You've waited through silence that screamed at you to walk away, yet you stayed. Not perfectly, you've doubted, questioned, despaired, but you haven't quit. That endurance doesn't go unnoticed in heaven. God sees the tears you've cried in secret. He sees prayers whispered in desperation. He sees moments you chose trust when everything wanted to give up. He sees faithfulness no one else witnesses, and he's moved by it all. This message came to ground you in truth. Nothing about this season is random or wasted. The delay has divine purpose. The waiting teaches what answered prayers never could. Your response now is shaping what comes next. You don't have to decide everything today, but you do have to decide how you'll move forward, with bitterness or trust, panic or peace, resistance or surrender. Will you let this season harden you or refine you? Will you close your heart or keep it open? Small decisions compound into destinies. Quiet choices echo into eternity. God is not distant, unmoved by your pain. He's closer than your next breath. He feels what you feel. He knows the weight you carry. Often he's closer in waiting than in movement, nearer in silence than in noise. Sometimes breakthrough doesn't arrive as external miracle first. Sometimes it comes as internal clarity, as unexpected rest, as renewed faith when you thought it was exhausted? As hope returning after you thought it was dead? Receive this moment for what it is, sacred interruption, divine reset. Let it steady you. Let it remind you that you're still held, still guided, still deeply seen. Nothing about your life is off schedule. If you've been asking God for direction, let this be your answer. Don't rush. Don't quit. Don't doubt what He's been building in you. What comes next depends not on how fast you move, but how deeply you trust. Not on how perfectly you perform, but how fully you surrender. The door is opening. Can you feel it? Ready doesn't mean perfect. Ready means willing. Ready means available. Ready means open, even when opening feels risky. You've come too far to give up now. You've survived too much to quit here. This is not the end of your story. This is the setup for your breakthrough. Hold on just a little longer. Trust just a little deeper. The morning is coming. If this message resonated in your spirit, stay connected with Faith Revealed. These messages reach people exactly when they need them most. And if someone came to mind while reading, share this with them, because moments like this aren't accidents. They're appointments with destiny.